I'm the CEO of Forward, and I am bringing together lots of fantastic brains internationally to help us evolve into this new era that we're in. Today, I am super excited to bring Jason Feifer, who is editor-in-chief of Entrepreneur Magazine, where true to form, Jason is an entrepreneur, as he's a host of not one, not two, but three podcasts: The Pessimist's Archive, Problem Solvers, and Hush Money. In addition, and this is quite fascinating, I don't know how he did this, Jason co-wrote a novel with his wife, which is now being turned into a TV show. So congratulations, Jason. You're the real deal.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Trying to stay busy, you know?
Keep out of trouble.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to have you on the show this week because it's my book's launch, Elephants Before Unicorns, Emotionally Intelligent HR Strategies to Save Your Company. It came out a year ago and it's his birthday. So I wanted to say a big thank you to you and everyone at Entrepreneur for making that happen last year. And I know people are loving it.
Oh, absolutely. We were so excited to publish it. It's a great book, and congratulations on turning one.
Yes, I know. It's so good, especially when you're this old. So I start off all of the interviews with asking one big question. We're obviously in a whole new era. It's exciting for some, it's daunting and incredibly scary for others. What are you stoked about in this new era that we're in?
I'm stoked about the many new opportunities that we are just starting to grasp. The way that I have seen the last however many months, whatever it is from now backwards to March, is in four different phases. I think that we went from the panic phase, which we all know very well, I certainly experienced it, to the adaptation phase, to the new normal phase. And now I think we are genuinely entering the I wouldn't go back phase, because there are so many people who have found new opportunities, who have reinvented themselves and their businesses in these times. That is not to discount the amount of pain and suffering that has happened, but I think that we've all been shoved into the future and we've been forced to consider things that we hadn't considered before or simply wouldn't consider before. And I think that that's really exciting. And I talk to a lot of people now who have discovered some great new idea, new source of revenue, new way to connect with people. And they, I ask them, when things go back to normal, whatever that is, will you go back to the way you used to operate? And they say no.
That's very interesting. And I hear what you're saying. I think I'm just feeling that from various people, but I think there's a lot of challenges that people are facing where they want their new normal to go where everyone goes back to the office. And I think that's going to be particularly challenging. So, based on, this being the new normal, a lot of people not necessarily facing up to it right now, or how would you recommend individuals and organizations make that transition?
Well, I think that the first thing you need to do is start from a position of what would we build right now if we were starting from scratch? And that's an important question that is very hard. It's easy intellectually to say that, but it's hard emotionally to do it because it means saying that everything that we did before may not be relevant. And of course, there are lots of learnings that are relevant from before, but just because something worked before doesn't mean that it could work now for your organization or for your customers. And so I think it's really worth taking a step back and saying, okay, well, organizationally, maybe we did things this way and that worked for X and Y reason. But right now, if we're all working from home, or even in the future when maybe we're back in the office part-time, but now there's going to be a bit more of a kind of mixed use, how would we build from scratch now? What systems and processes would we use? What teams would we build? Who leads those teams? Who has the skills that we need right now? And then you need to start acting on that. I mean, the greatest entrepreneurs that I have met are all willing to, in some way or another, discard what worked yesterday in favor of what's going to work in the future. It's so hard to do, but it is really the only way forward, because otherwise all you're doing is clinging to something that becomes more outdated by the day.
Yeah, so true. So true. Thank you for that. So this podcast series was inspired by John Lewis's death and talking about good trouble. What kind of good trouble are you making?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I would like to think that I'm always making some kind of trouble for others and for myself. I'll share a way that I have always thought about my own career and that I always encourage other people to as well, which is I call it work your next job. I say that you should always be working your next job. So in front of you at any time, you, me, everyone watching, at any time, there are two sets of opportunities. Opportunity set A, opportunity set B. Opportunity set A are the things that are asked of you at your job, the things that you're measured on. And then opportunity set B is the things that nobody is asking you to do, but that are available to you anyway. And I would propose to you that opportunity set B is always more important. And these opportunities that are available to you, as I say, these could be things that are happening at your company that's nobody's asking you to do, but that you could participate in the way that the reason I'm able to talk to you right now and, for example, make eye contact with a camera, which is not something that comes natural, is because when I was a print magazine editor at a previous magazine and they started a video division, nobody asked me to do it. I volunteered. I said, put me in front of the camera. And I learned these great skills that I found would pay off in other ways later. So that was something that was available to me at the office. But then there are also things that are available to me that weren't at the office. The podcasts. I started making podcasts on my own. Why? Because if I bought a $100 microphone and plugged it into my computer, I could figure something out. Nobody asked me to do it, but instead what it has created is a new personal revenue opportunities inside of the place that I work. I created podcasts for Entrepreneur Magazine, and also it's created great connections and opened all sorts of other new doors. So this is all because I focus on opportunity set B. Opportunity set B is going to create problems, to go to your question. It's going to create trouble for yourself and for perhaps others. It's going to stretch your time. But I think that ultimately what it's going to do is fill you with new skills. It's going to make you qualified for things that you were not qualified for. Instead of, if you focus on opportunity set A, the things that you're being measured by, you will only always be qualified for the thing you're already doing.
Love it. Thank you so much for that. And this is what I look for when I'm working with seeking talent, which is you're wanting to see what more where do they want to explore? Where do they want to grow? Which leads into my next question is, why is it emotionally intelligent to do that?
Well, I think that you have to have an understanding of who you are and who you want to be. Now, I'm a big fan of situational awareness, which to me means being aware of what I know and what I don't know, and then taking steps to fill those gaps in my own knowledge or surround myself with people who can do it with me. And that's a line that the term situational awareness, which, could be used for all sorts of things, but I really picked it up from the CEO of a company called Food Stirs. It's a baking mix company, most famous because, outside of that, they make great baking mixes, that they have Sarah Michelle Gellar as a co-founder. But Greg is the CEO, and he had told me that when he thinks about who he wants to partner with, in this case, the two other co-founders at Food Stirs, he looks a lot for situational awareness. So what do they know? What do they know they know? And what do they know they don't know? And then how can all of that match together in a way in which you're able to create a great cohesive whole? And I think that you can do that just for yourself as well. So there has to be a lot of great emotional awareness and emotional intelligence in recognizing what it is that you want to do and where your deficiencies are and where you need to really work at. And I think that it's okay, by the way, to not know exactly what the deficiency is or how to fill it, so long as you are open to constantly learning and constantly exploring, because you'll end up discovering things you didn't even know you were interested in and you didn't even know you were good at, of which podcasting would be one of those things for me a couple of years ago. So that all requires really understanding yourself and having a vision of where you want to go.
Love it. I think that leads in very nicely to my next question, which is what would you wish for viewers to take away from this conversation?
Well, I would hope that viewers in this time of such incredible change and also incredible challenges, that they would be optimistic, as I am, and as I've seen so many entrepreneurs be optimistic about the future. That you spend less time worrying about how to go backwards, and you spend a lot more time thinking about how to go forwards. A line I like to say is, the future is not optional. You cannot opt out of the future. It's coming one way or the other, and right now it's coming real fast. So I think that means that if the future is not optional, you have only two things that you can do. You can either try to resist it and stay in place while everyone else passes you by, or you can try to keep up with it and even get ahead of it and start thinking about where you can find the most opportunity and how you can shape this future best for yourself.
Brilliantly said. Jason, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast. Have a great rest of your day.
Oh, thank you. You too. I really appreciate you having me here. And congratulations again on 1 year old for the book.
Thank you.